it goes back and forth from my personal Facebook page to the town Facebook page, and honestly, I don't understand it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I have one question.
Sure.
If I were to take, so the changes of these three drawings, the changes we talked about, which is the expanded crosswalk down at the co-op, the crosswalk down at the food truck, and then to commit to having this raised cross, if I make those changes, and then Gabe, so you'll post these, Gabe. I think these are, we didn't want to post anything yet until we had this discussion. But I think if you're okay, we should post these so people see the changes.
Yep.
Yeah, we should have those final, the one that was changed, we should have those for the minutes too, just to put those in as a record.
Okay, I can send those. I'll send those along. And did you already get those for the packet though? Because I think that they went into the board packet.
Well, but you said there was one that was different.
I think we
Oh,
went through all three.
the co-op one was not what we had.
I need to add this, I need to add
Right.
the crosswalk at the food truck, and I
Okay.
need to do a wider crosswalk coming off the ferry terminal building. And I will, on this particular one you're looking at, it says crosswalk at grade or raised. I'll change that to raised. So those three changes, and I'll get them to Gabe so we can post these.
Okay, and then I'll send them along, and when we share information online and with the stakeholders, they'll have the new designs as well.
So there'll be just one raised. Where
It's gonna be three total.
raised,
Three total.
and where are they again?
Near High Street, right? Like this
On
one
Yep.
High-
High
across
Street,
from the grocery store,
Yeah.
and then that one by the
at
electric.
Fox Island.
Yep, at Fox Island. Thank you.
correct.
Thanks.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and record this. Oh, actually, I already am. Great.
Said it was.
Any other actions from me? Any other updates from me? Or we?
Nothing.
Where are we on?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't we approve the design of the
Transfer
transfer station
station.
last?
We
And has
are,
that been put out to bid?
no,
Yeah.
we're finished. We're doing the design. Now that's approved. We should have a draft design by the end of the month for that. We're
Okay.
pushing forward
I
on that.
thought we had the design.
You have a concept.
The concept.
We don't have
yeah.
a draft.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't have details or the aggregates or quantities, just that's the concept, and you approve that. So that's what we're designing right now.
All right, so our next meeting is the 19th. Do you think you'll have it by then, or is that a little too soon?
I will have it the meeting after that.
Okay, all right, the first one.
I'll bring the next, if I come out on the 19th, I might have the draft version to show. But I'll present it the next meeting after that.
The first one in August. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
And that's our next select board meeting.
Is that something- Yeah. Is that something, once we have that out to bid and it's agreed upon, do we have to? Are we gonna be able to do, well, we can do both parts we're talking about, because one's downtown, one's totally out of town. Never mind. I answered my own question. Never mind. All right, I think that's it, Brent, unless anyone has any other
Yep,
questions.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.
You
See ya.
too. Okay, so 7C Woodard and current status report. Already had my question about the transfer station, so I don't really have anything else.
Scheduled update though, where it says next water district meeting,
Mhm.
that is incorrect. It is not July 7th, it is July 19th.
Noted.
Well, what is the meeting on Thursday?
I think, actually, Pam, I think that is the meeting for the 7th, which is our, and sorry for the confusion, because I think from the downtown perspective, we still call it a meeting with the water district, so
Okay, I thought you meant our own.
Not
quarterly
your meeting, right?
Right.
This would be the downtown project meeting with the water
Oh.
district. On
It's
the
our
7th.
Thursday.
It's on
first
Thursday at
Thursday.
10. Yeah, correct.
Are you gonna send out a Zoom invitation for that? I'm gonna be off island or.
I will resend it to you, Marjorie. Yep,
Oh, dear.
no problem.
Is it yours? Is it yours?
Yeah, it's the
Zoom?
same link, right? Yep,
All
it's that
right, I
same
have
link,
it.
yeah. I'll
Okay,
send it to
cool.
you anyway. I'll make sure that you're on it.
Monday and a Friday all rolled into one.
Are there any more questions on the status report from Woodard and Curran?
Oh, no.
All right, move on to 7D, Director of Public Works.
I don't see her on Zoom.
And I didn't get any response.
Um, she had a couple of things that she's got a quote here for a new aluminum bed for the pickup truck, like $4,000. But then she's also looking at the new truck that was supposedly in the budget, but I don't see enough money. I mean, this quote is almost 180,000. And I added up about 110.
Yeah. We definitely weren't at 180, unless we were thinking we're not gonna get that much for the current one we have, right? We're not gonna sell that for
No,
70 grand.
she was kind of hopeful, but I said, you're not gonna get anything for that truck. And she was shocked, but there's nothing that we can get in trade in for that big truck. Nobody wants them.
Right.
So do you want to wait until she's available? Maybe.
Does she need us to move on the new aluminum bed for the 350 pickup, or is that something that can be agreed upon at the next meeting?
She did not give me a timeline on that, but I'm sure she would like to get that. That's less money and probably we could just do that out of equipment and the operating budget.
Yeah, there should be enough in between both that. we
Yeah,
can cover
between the
that.
reserve and the operating budget.
Yep.
The equipment line.
Yep. Yeah, we can have those, we can take those up again next meeting,
Okay.
but unless, does anyone, you said it was 4,000 for that,
Mhm.
the new bed? Oh, there it is. Thank you. I missed it.
So this body will hold up much better against the salt and sand. Be much easier to clean.
Okay,
Also, it's very useful for traffic control and tool hauling during summer months. The current truck is showing severe rust and appears that one of the mount bolts has broken off.
okay.
Oh, it's not bad.
Well, I mean, I think we should, does anyone have any objections to this 4,000? On the truck bed?
Should make a motion.
Yeah, this is the quote. So I make a motion, we allow the Public Works Director to obtain a new aluminum bed for the 350 pickup per the quote provided by OTR Manufacturing, $4,000.
Second.
All those in favor? And then, yeah, we'll add the sales quote for the 2022 international for the next meeting. That is a significant amount.
Slightly.
Yeah. Okay. Move on to 7E, annual appointments for town officials, boards and committees. So everyone highlighted in yellow needs to be appointed, is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
And do you guys want Eric to the
Yes,
budget
Eric.
committee?
Eric asked me to be appointed to the
Yeah.
budget committee.
Eric Davis to the housing committee was a yes. Did you change the one? Yeah. Okay, so you have the same.
Mhm.
Is the Fox Island Broadband Task Force still in effect?
I don't
I
know.
don't think they meet. Didn't re-up for the.
And Gabe wants to be appointed to the sea level rise, is that correct?
Mhm.
Well. We have to go through this one by one, or can I just make a hard motion? All right,
General.
I move that we appoint all those highlighted here who responded yes to their appropriate boards and committees as presented. And I'll make one specific one, Eric Asperini be appointed to the budget committee for a 3-year term. Do I have a second?
Oh, second, sorry. Thanks, Kat.
It's all right. All those in favor? All right. Town officials, this is just the listing, and we don't have to, right? This
It's
is,
just the listing everybody's keeping there.
Did she want to come on this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Gabe is taking Emily's vacancy.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Alrighty then.
So anything else you need from us on that one?
I don't think so.
All right, so we'll move on to 8A, old business employment agreement.
The only thing that's, Don said that you wanted to put that in place as of today, but our work week starts on Friday. It goes from Friday to Thursday. I'm leaving tomorrow. So what I've been doing is just putting in for the hours that I've worked.
Okay.
You know, that's all I've been doing.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna put in for last Friday and Tuesday, and then I'm gonna take the rest of this week off.
Okay.
So I was thinking that the salary would start actually either, I don't know, Friday or Monday. Friday would be a day off. I would have to take that as a vacation day, but that starts our work week. It's an odd work week. It's Friday to Thursday,
Yeah.
but I don't know how I would tell Debbie to pay me if the contract starts on the 5th, or maybe you have some thoughts
Well,
about it. You were
It's actually supposed to be tomorrow, but I mean, it's
starting on.
the 6th,
today, on the
Wednesday,
6th.
so I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Does anyone else? I mean, push it to Friday, is that the 9th? No.
I mean, to
Eighth.
simplify it for the bookkeeping
Yeah.
of the payroll.
Yep. That's fine.
It's easiest.
Do you want me to, I can just respond to Dawn's email and ask him to make that change?
No, I think we could just pay it. I mean, that's
I think you
okay.
probably can sign this page with the contingency to change the date, right? And
I
then,
mean, can't we both just initial?
I
it?
think you
don't know.
can, you can just change
Sure.
it. You initial it, I initial it, then the whole
Yeah.
board signs it, and I think we're good to go.
so where are you changing?
So
it?
in tenure, the agreement.
3 years beginning, July.
Change that to the 8th, right? Because that's Friday, is that right?
Texas, yeah, 7, 8.
Okay.
And then just. We do it July 8th for the end of the agreement. I don't know if that matters.
Well, I think it should be June 30th, but
That's the end of the fiscal year.
All right, let's do that.
That makes sense.
All right.
Kind of made a mess of it.
it don't matter.
Gosh, she's got some great grammar, doesn't it? Don't matter. Don't matter.
So I'll
It
just give
don't
you,
matter
you guys
to me.
can sign that, and then if Donald, you want
I'll
to initial
initial
there.
that.
I guess if we're recording, I should probably have better grammar.
No, it's the whole thing anyway. Thought Eric was gonna be here to
Said he was.
welcome you.
Yeah, where's Jake?
Don't know.
Signature. Yep,
Do not know where Jacob is. Jake. Oh, Jacob.
assuming he's out to haul. He said he was gonna be away this week. I can't remember now. I didn't think he said he was gonna.
I talked to Sam this afternoon on the phone.
Okay,
So.
yeah, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you gonna be the witness, Elizabeth?
Sure.
I'd love to.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Congratulations, I think.
We're
all
very
good.
fortunate to have you.
Yes,
Thank
we
you very
are.
much.
Thank you.
It's all good. Just recognize how much I missed it.
All right,
Okay.
unless there's anything else on that item. I think we're good, right? Okay. 9, new business, approve and sign notice of public hearing for proposed changes to land use ordinance.
Okay, so we had a date that we were going to present last what was it, June 21st, but since we didn't have a meeting, we have, I think, 3 options here for a public hearing on these amendments to the land use ordinance.
And this allows for publication in the wind and the,
Yeah, because there are specific notice requirements when you're having a public hearing for land use ordinance amendments. So we have either August 2nd, August 4th, or August 9th.
so I think the second would be a regular select board meeting. The 4th would be that Thursday,
Right.
or the 9th would be the next Tuesday, just an off week from a board meeting.
The 4th will not work for me. I could do the second. You said that's a regular. That's
Wouldn't it
whatever.
make sense to have it during a regular?
I think the thought was just how long it would take if you didn't want to do it on the same night as
Right.
a regular meeting.
Because this could,
Do they
This-
usually take long?
well, this could, because
Depends.
there's a little bit of controversy there.
Because what,
There's a little bit of controversy with this, I believe, there might be.
okay,
Isn't
all
this where we'll discuss the setback?
The setback and
Setback,
oh, right,
and then there's the
required
change,
site visit for the
right.
Right,
planning.
yep,
Could you do the 9th, TW?
Yep.
That's just the following Tuesday, it's not a meeting week.
No, I'm just looking at the rest, so. Because August 28th, I'm just trying to think of how many, we're gonna have 2 meetings in August, I can be there for those. But I'm leaving the 28th of August, not returning until September 28th,
woo,
so. The board can meet without me,
well, we will have to if we have a meeting.
yes,
Okay,
you can, I'm saying you can have a meeting when I'm not here.
We're meeting the second and the sixth,
Unless you want to Zoom.
wait, the second, the 16th,
I know.
The second is
and
16th.
Would be regular.
regular meetings,
Mhm.
potentially the 30th. But without
Mhm.
GW,
Correct,
or not have a meeting that week.
right, if we're gonna meet the 2nd, the 9th, and the 16th, we might want a couple. weeks out
Yeah.
Anyway,
The other thing that's a little bit confusing to me, I'm still trying to,
Turn it down a little, just a little.
maneuver my way
Right.
through the goals of the board. And one of the things that you had asked is that I contact Noel Musson, and that was Ellen Ellisoffen, who was on the planning commission, had also said, well, we need help from a planner.
right,
I did just, I spoke with him, and his concern is that we're not really identifying, you know, what is it specifically that you want help with? Is it help with revising the land use ordinance? And if that's true, then why are we moving forward with
right.
these
Public hearing.
particular revisions? So those two things didn't really make sense to me in terms of if the planning commission is asking for help and for instance, are there things in our land use ordinance? I mean, there hasn't been a revision since
It's been a
before
while,
I left,
right,
was in 2009. And it seems to me, as I recall, that there were things that the state mandated for changes in local land use ordinances. And mind you, I haven't researched any of this, there's a lot of things going on, but those two things didn't really jive for me. That if they want help with their land use ordinance revisions, I mean, I have no objection to having a public hearing and having people hash out whether they want these revisions or not. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it would be up to you at any point to put them forward into a town meeting. And what I would probably do is maybe separate out the things, that are just sort of housekeeping items, I call them.
Mhm.
And then the two big items, the housing piece that they want in there and the piece about business,
Right.
Home.
yeah,
business.
home occupations, business, home occupations.
Yeah.
Are, so it maybe isn't a bad idea to get a public hearing under our belt and see, how that hashes out. Certainly don't have to move forward with the town meeting, but it would hopefully bring people out to at least discuss those things. And then I can maybe delve into more with the planning commission members about, what things are out there that need to be dealt with. I don't know at this point.
Yeah.
But it would be I think it would be good to explore. I've never worked with Noel Musson of the Musson Group, but that was the person that was suggested to me.
That's what Ellen said, right?
But I think Andy had talked with him before, and he keeps going back to the same thing. Well, what more specifically is the work that you want us to address?
It had to do more with housing.
George.
I think part of what Colin had talked about at least last year was the long list of ordinance change recommendations that came out of the downtown committee's report. That there was a lot that was tied into parking ordinances and commerce ordinances related to building use along Main Street. Not the harbor, but just everything onshore. That there was housing tied in with that. So I think it was mostly parking, housing and land and perhaps building use. That's in the land use ordinance. So they like the requirements of commercial use in the first floor of all the buildings on Main Street. The prohibition of housing on the second floor of structures that are in the waterfront district. Those were tossed out into they were laid out pretty carefully in the downtown plan on what was recommended to be changed and why. And then I thought that was gonna go to the planning commission to digest and figure out whether they wanted to move forward and how to move forward. But that was a big nut to crack, and there were a lot of complicated topics in there, and I thought that was what a consultant, planner assistance was gonna help. But that was a year ago when that all landed.
That's good to know.
But you might ask Ellen if that's what she's thinking.
Yeah, that would,
I mean, it's interesting, I've read the master plan, but I think different times that you read it with different focus. And
So the
you know.
bricks and mortar part, pretty well digested and underway and rolling, but it was that legal ordinance related part that was sort of part and parcel with the project, but a different way of thinking. Parking is probably the more critical one. You just mentioned today about the shorter term, 15 or 20 minute or half an hour parking possibility in front of the sandbar, for example, and loading zone concepts in other parts of Main Street. Right now, we don't have anything in the ordinances to address that. There's no time limits on any parking on Main Street
Right.
of any sort.
right,
And then there's interplay of parking with housing apartments on Main Street, and whether they do or don't have parking allotted with that apartment, and whether that person can park on the street or they're not allowed to park in the town parking lot. All of
Yeah,
those
I know,
things
it's
are interplaying.
crazy.
Yeah.
And we thought that it would be a good time to address that when you're looking at revising the parking on Main Street.
Mhm.
so to my knowledge, they haven't addressed any of that in
Mm-mm.
the ordinance changes they presented to us, correct? It
Right.
was mostly focused on those other issues,
So the
Right.
parking ordinance is separate.
Yeah,
but that was supposed to tie in with the land use ordinance, right?
I don't,
Part,
in
part-
my mind, no.
Well, it
No.
affects if you require on-site parking for conversion of a space into a residence. Then the question is, well, where does that person park? So there is a sort of.
I understand that piece, but isn't the planning commission specific to the land use ordinance? It's in the,
No, 'cause
in the
they-
beginning of the land use ordinance, it says the planning commission shall,
But I think the planning commission has also taken up some of the other ordinances as
They
well,
have.
correct? They have
Mhm.
presented, because like that, it's not the helicopter ordinance now, it's the aviation
right,
ordinance.
draft, whatever.
And
Okay.
the harbor, I think the harbor ordinance, and the board has taken up some of that action before and gone through things and revised things. More so on the
I'll
housekeeping
look up
side
the
of it. but
purpose of the
Mhm.
planning commission. My memory is that they're just land use ordinance.
I'm pretty sure that
I'll look.
probably originally that was the intent and that probably their main focus, but recently they've also helped us with other ordinances.
Okay,
So
Yeah, because they want us to pass it on to them, what we recommend before we, remember, like with the harbor ordinance, they were upset because we didn't pass it on to them first, or was it the
It was-
aviation one?
It was
that-
one of them.
was.
Yeah.
That they wanted to, like, oh, we didn't pass it on to us first to research.
Right.
That's all very
So
confusing.
having said all that, doesn't seem like we should have a town meeting yet, correct?
a public
A
hearing?
public hearing, excuse me, thank you.
Oh, I didn't mean to discourage you or,
Well, no,
but it just seems like, is there more that needs to be researched and done? I'm not there yet personally. I haven't, I haven't really looked at and absorbed what it is they want, what it is, that isn't the right way to put it. What it is the planning commission is putting forth
Right,
for amendments.
right.
And Ellen did request a planner in one of the meetings,
Yes.
so
Several
Several
times.
times.
several times, so. To me, it makes sense if she wants a planner. Get her a planner to sort things out and then have a clearer approach.
Yeah,
Well, how much is the planner?
well, that was my next question.
Well,
How
that's,
much
the-
is it
that's the
gonna cost?
thing, in order for him to, give us a proposal, what does he want for money?
Didn't,
Uh,
Did we allot so a certain amount? for
Yeah,
I
that?
believe we did, yes.
Yeah, you have planning and engineering is in that same budget line, right?
Yeah.
I should have brought my budget book.
So I guess it's more, we need to ask the planning board to,
Planning commission.
sorry, the planning commission, excuse me.
Yeah, I know, it's just confusing.
I mean, they've already highlighted, they've kind of summarized, West did provide that summary of what they've made for changes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think what George brought up does make sense, because what was identified in the downtown project where these different ordinances kind of combined together, should all of that be revised and looked at as well at
Right.
the same time? It might not specifically be in the land use ordinance, but as mentioned, parking effects,
Mhm.
land use, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and certainly. there
So
are-
if we are gonna hire someone to come and consult, we might as well,
know what we're asking and how much.
and get our money's worth.
Right.
I know, I can't remember what we appropriated for that.
We have copies of that,
Well, it's,
what they're,
it's right here.
what they were proposing for the changes.
Yeah, we do,
Get a copy of that. maybe.
yeah, let me, I can find it, I can mail it to you, if not, Marjorie, can you
Yeah.
email Dawn the last time we up West, because they provided a marked up copy of the planning ordinance, and then he had like a summary document that kind of highlighted everything.
So the planning and community development budget is, there was 29,250 in wages and 50,000 service fees. And then some other travel supplies, lodging and meals. 82,500.
That's the total budget. So we should have enough in there.
Those specific,
We have to go through the
we were
budget
gonna
book.
give them the sheet they asked for, but
It might be on the more detailed
Yeah.
budget sheet.
Mhm. But we also talked about a planner. This might be someone in a different area, but coming out and talking about the roads, because you should probably use some help
Yeah,
planning
we
that, because
definitely
it's
need the
gonna
help
be a
on
big
that.
project, so.
yeah.
The roads,
Yeah.
Like the road work we're gonna have to do, like around the Island Road, North Haven Road, there's a lot that's gonna have to go into that. So we had someone who actually has experience with that type of work, because we're kind of. I don't know how to build a road properly, is anyone here know? I don't know how to do that.
No,
So,
I know how they tear them up.
exactly. So if we're hiring a planner, help us with something like what we just discussed, it might make sense to see if they can also help us out with something like that. So I don't know.
I don't think they typically,
That's what I'm saying. It's probably not the same
There should be
company.
a state resource to be available for that.
well, there is main local
Yeah.
roads, Peter Coughlin, and he will come out. I mean, in the last 5.5 years, I've actually worked with all states, and I'm a convert to cold mix and chip seal, you know. And that's what we've done on Shabig for the last 5.5 years. I think it's great, and you don't have to worry about keeping it hot.
Are the roads comparable to what we have over here?
Oh, there's only like 5 miles.
Okay,
Like being on the Tinnicus, kind of.
okay.
It's bigger than that, but yeah,
What he can,
I mean, because there's parts of like around the Island Road where like you're gonna have to reclaim it, which is a
Yeah.
much more expensive endeavor. So
absolutely.
there's a lot that's gonna have to go into that next project, so. All right, so that's a separate topic.
Yeah, I was just
Sorry,
gonna
we're
say,
getting off
so
topic here.
what should we do? Just hold off on this and wait until the Musson, M-U-S-O-N, Musson?
Well, him or somebody else.
Right, I mean, not necessarily have to be him, but should we hold?
Maybe I can just ask Gabe if she has some other names or what, you know, just talk about it some more, I guess.
before we get a plan of it, we ought to at least have an idea what we're asking for. And
Right.
Then talk to a planner, not until we at least thought about it and laid out what we want.
Yep. So I think the question goes back to the planning commission. Do I have that right?
Yes.
If they're gonna try to incorporate some of the changes that George brought up. And if they're not looking to do that right now, then maybe we can just move forward with saying, oh, this is what we're trying to change in the ordinance. But it seems like we should take maybe a step back and a little bit bigger picture. If we are updating it, let's do it everything now, so we don't have to do
Yeah.
it again,
No.
Yeah.
another year or whatever, so,
Avoid redundancies.
exactly.
So we're not gonna do the public hearing.
No, I don't think
Not
right
big
now,
enough
if we can
for
get a report back from the planning commission, if they agree with that approach, then we can discuss it at the next meeting, but I don't think we're in a spot where we should have a public hearing right now.
Mhm. Okay, good. And we certainly have more than one ordinance. We've got several ordinances. that we
Yes.
need to, have a meeting, town meeting.
Public
on.
meeting, yes.
So,
I mean, things have changed.
A little,
All right. 9, the personal policy health insurance, personnel policy health insurance.
So I had lobbied for Abby Proctor, last week or the week before, but you wanted to look at what it actually says. And
Yes.
So my thinking on this is, so like with Abby's case, she was part-time to start, right?
yeah,
And she decided to, so then she was hired as a full-time. I don't want to have to like reset the clock on someone if they've already worked 60 days and then they have to work another 60 days to get coverage. I feel like that's
too much.
it's gonna
well, there it
be a
is.
deterrent for people to
Yes.
want to stay on if they started part-time.
Okay,
So,
so just leave it as it is then.
but should we clear it up though, to make it,
Yeah, it has
if,
to be
if
said
you've
that.
been employed by the town
Should
for
we
60 days as a temporary, but then you decide to come on, I don't know, do we need to distinguish, I guess?
That'd be a policy.
So
change.
would you-
We need- There's gonna be something we move forward. Got to do it, I don't think you can do
What
it for
is
one
that?
time acceptance.
Just reading it. Is that in your
Well, the
report,
board,
Marjorie?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that in your report?
No, maybe it's in the, I just had
I know, it's
in the motions.
It's in the motions.
Okay,
So you want me to go back and come up with some proper, you'd like it to be clarified.
Because
so,
as you mentioned, it wasn't really clear.
no, it's a little,
I'm sorry, I should have printed out that page and submitted it to everyone.
So if someone works part-time for 60 days and then is hired full-time, should we stipulate that they had to have worked so many hours a week in order to qualify and not have to work another 60 days?
So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't think if they worked for 60 days, unless they're only working like 2 hours a week.
Right,
Yeah, so maybe it is an hourly thing, but you shouldn't have to then, all right, now I'm a full-time employee and I have to wait another 60 days to get my
Right.
health insurance. That
or an
seems-
accumulation of, like, I mean, this is outrageous, but within that 60-day time period, you've worked 300 hours. I mean, not 300 hours, but either like 30 hours a week or a total amount. Then you're hired full-time, you should be able to just matriculate into the health insurance
Right.
and everything else.
Well, let me see if I can come up with some wording.
Would this require another,
What?
this is a personnel change, correct? Do we have, that doesn't have to be a public hearing, right?
Oh, God, no,
No, but
that's,
it is
this
a
is
policy
just
change.
selectmen,
Yeah.
it's just
We'll
Board of
live with this.
Selectmen. No, it's not an ordinance, it's just.
So, but does the rest of the board agree with that?
I think conceptually it sounds fine. I just think we need to make sure that we word it properly.
Right.
So there's something we're prepared to live with in the future.
Right. But I'm just thinking like, this is the prime example, like Abby started part-time,
Right,
she was hired full-time because I'm assuming, it seems like she's doing a good job. Let's
She
not,
What, well, no, I think she was originally, they wanted her to be full-time. She's the one that said, I'll start out,
okay,
for personal reasons, she said, I'll start out with, I don't know how many hours.
How many hours does she work?
She's
I think she's full time now.
Yeah, 40.
I don't remember what it was before. It was more than 20. It was more than,
I'm sorry, yeah, let me go back to the,
Typically 30 hours a week seems to
it
be
was
the
more than
cutoff for
30.
benefits. and
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
was
right.
more than 30. I don't know, it just seemed crazy for me that she had to wait another 60 days.
That's,
Right.
that's my.
No one's
And-
disagreeing.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we agree. So I guess
We just
It-
need to
it
make
need-
it
it's a
clear.
wording thing.
Yeah, it just needs to be
Oh,
clear.
yeah, for future, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
We already said to go ahead and
right,
give her the insurance.
Yep.
But for future employees,
Let's make it clear so that
Yes.
everyone knows what they're getting.
agreed.
Yep. Okay. 9C, Maine DOT Local Road Assistance Program Certification, 2023.
this is just a form that you guys need to sign. In order to get our local road assistance money,
Okay,
and obviously I'll complete the form and send it in.
do I have to sign here?
Correct.
Is it just me?
No, I think at least 3 of you have to sign, aren't there?
Oh, yep, sorry.
There's
Just
4
4
lines.
there, I got it.
Yeah. This ballot.
Oh,
we could vote for 2 in there too. Yep.
The next one is kind of the same thing. Municipal is just asking you to vote for these 2 guys, Jay Filer and somebody else for the Legislative Policy Committee. I just need to send that in. Unless you don't want to vote for
Oh,
that,
that's
for the
right.
Legislative Policy Committee.
Great idea. Oh, my word.
wait, I missed out.
I said this right in Eric's name.
Let's do it.
Don't, was I supposed to vote for 2 there?
Yes.
It's fine.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm not
Vote-
paying
Vote for
attention
2. Yes.
in my signature. And I think I know who I am. A little confused here at this minute. Too many things going through my head. Oh, I
Me
didn't print my
too.
name. Oh, gosh, it's been a horrible day.
It's been a long day.
It's a Monday on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Do you know any of these, either one of these guys?
Jay Filer is the union
Oh,
town manager, and I don't
Yeah.
know the other guy. What's his name?
Rick Erb
I don't know him.
from St. George.
Jay's been in union for a long time, and he's been on the Legislative Policy Committee. They make recommendations on certain
Thank you.
Mhm.
legislation that affects municipalities.
Mhm.
They'll make a recommendation to the legislature.
So they'll be good people
Rick,
to have on.
it says
there.
Rick has served on the LPC in the past. So.
Right,
I've served on that before.
All right, so we are,
Yep, we can just,
Yeah, that's just.
so we're on to 9E, liquor license application for Lindsay Davis doing business as the Sandbar.
Well, how did we not sign that last
Yeah,
time?
I thought we did, but
Oh, sorry.
Do we need to make a motion?
yeah, hold on, we should have done that first. Move to approve and sign the liquor license application for Lindsay Davis doing business as the Sandbar.
Second.
All those in favor? All right.
But that'd be a mutiny if we didn't
So
do
we're-
that.
I know.
You did.
We'd have a lot of people sitting in here next meeting.
Skull. But we had, did we have that?
I don't think so.
I don't
Because I
remember
thought it was
seeing
odd too, because we did.
You did it
we
last
John
year.
Millie's.
I know, maybe it's last year. I'm thinking of.
I don't remember doing that one because I thought it was strange
so you had all the other restaurants.
that we had all the
Yeah.
other ones.
Yeah,
Crazy. Yeah, I'm confused about that. Yeah. I'll wait for Marjorie.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you. On to 10, report of town manager.
So I've had a lot of issues that Pete and Jim Knowlton have brought to me, the harbor master. The sewer outfall, I guess, is that danger buoy there, that's completely gone, and Pete says that even the chain and everything under
Is
is
gone.
gone too.
I
So
have
we have to
been
replace the whole
on-
thing.
Someone
That
dragged it off.
I've been
Understood.
on that for almost a year,
Oh, really?
since last shatter season.
Well, I just told Pete to go ahead and do it and we'll pay him, you know, I don't know who else to get and
No, that's
and I
fine.
don't wanna
Yeah.
wait to put it out to bid or some, I
It
just
shouldn't
told,
be more than,
he gave me some estimates. Do I have that with me?
we have to put things out to bid that are over 15,000. and that kind of-
Mhm. No, I've talked to Will, I've talked to,
Oh, here it is, right here. The buoy itself costs 400. Everything. He said $910.
For everything. Okay.
Mooring, sewer outfall, chain to the buoy, 3 shackles, labor, and 3 searches? What does that mean? Diving?
that has to dive 3
Probably.
times,
Yeah,
probably has to find it.
well, anyway,
There.
I asked him to address that. And then the Sands Cove channel markers,
They need to be replaced too, okay.
couple of moorings, he's gonna set a couple of moorings. And then, we need some pilings. Jim Knowlton has been trying to get, contract, with my help, contract with somebody to put the pilings in. We haven't found anybody, so we did order a couple of pilings, because if we want to put new floats, those 2 new floats down there by the ferry,
Yeah,
we need 2 pilings, so
okay.
I'm moving forward on that as well. And then it's not on there, but just recently I got a call about the thoroughfare ramp. That it was unsafe, and Jim went up and looked, and he didn't really see anything at first, but then he looked underneath. And I don't know, I don't speak the right language, but he contacted Kolofsky, the welder,
Mhm.
and he's gonna go up and make it at least safe. But what they're saying is that that whole ramp really needs to be replaced, that it's not safe. And even the walkway going to the ramp really needs to be replaced. But so well, the ramp, I guess he's saying would be about $6,000, but for that, I did ask him to give me a written proposal.
So the ramp down to the float,
Correct.
okay,
And the walkway to the ramp.
didn't we just put in a new float up there?
Well, the float, I guess, is okay, but it's the ramp.
All right,
ramp
at least the
and the
float's
walkway.
okay.
And Andy was supposed to get in touch with Chris about making a ladder for the float.
Yeah.
So in case somebody fell overboard, they would have a way to get out.
Who? Chris Kolofsky?
Yeah, and because I had talked to him about that one, I just happened to be up there.
This was a while ago too, because I remember,
Hmm.
because I thought it was a really good idea to put a ladder there.
Could buy a ladder from Hammond or someplace else, just stick it on there.
Well, we discussed that, but we felt it was better to have something professional made. I mean, it's not gonna cost $1 million, it's probably $400 or $500 maybe, but
What, weld something onto it?
he was gonna weld,
Weld,
make a
okay.
ladder and put it on.
I did notice under town property, there was about 9,000 some odd dollars earmarked for thoroughfare. Is that what that's for? Infrastructure at the thoroughfare?
Probably,
Mhm.
Well, another thing.
yeah, that's, until we can get permission to,
Mm.
or get a, like a, the
Do one of
long
those.
lease, and then we can do all kinds of work up there on the.
Oh, that's
Boat
right. I
launch.
I was
haven't
gonna
heard
ask where we
that.
stand on a lease for that property.
It's just year to year.
Yeah.
We couldn't convince them to go any longer
So-
than that.
Eminent domain.
Could we include that also along with the new ramp or whatever he's gonna do?
No,
and-
that's, because,
No, I mean the ladder.
oh, the
on
ladder, okay, yeah,
That's all
yeah,
that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
finish up the conversation.
Sorry,
about
It
yes.
makes
that.
sense if he's gonna be up there welding the ramp anyway.
yeah. put
If
the
he
ladder
could just
into-
weld it and do the
So what's
ladder
happening
too.
right now is I asked him to make it safe.
Yep.
He felt that there was something underneath, I can't remember the language. That needed to be welded. And then he's gonna give me an estimate on anything else, like replacing the ramp, for instance.
Okay,
Okay.
That's Chris.
Chris Kolofsky.
So would you also talk to him about the ladder because Andy
Yes.
didn't.
Ladder for float
So-
out there, here.
Thank you.
So those things are going on. So I spoke with the town attorney about the water district and town of Vinalhaven, the tenants in common, and also with Mike Cummins from Maine Water, and we're still, working toward. I mean, the goal is for the water district to eventually convey their interest as tenant in common to the town, and then we in turn will give the water district a long-term lease. But we're, there's still discussions going on between me and the town attorney and the Mike Cummins, who does the operations and management for Maine, Maine Water. Yeah, no, not for Maine Water, for Vinalhaven Water.
Well,
Maine Water does the operations and
Right.
maintenance for Vinalhaven Water, sorry. Okay. So those discussions are ongoing. So we already discussed that I talked with Noel Musson. And I just want more information to get a handle on what we're actually asking for.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I talked with this Simon Thorne from Consolidated Communications. You had asked me to see if there was any opportunity out there, but he said that he had talked to Andy and what he needs is some sort of more specific proposal. So I'm just not there yet. There's just so much going on. I don't have any idea, for one of the Connect Maine grants or Connect Me grants. So we would need to have more of an idea of specifically what we're looking for. What area are we looking to expand in? Because obviously we don't have the money to do everything.
no, and it was pretty clear that the town does not want does not want to do everything, so.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, do you want me to do anything more with that? I mean, that was something that was on Andy's list to follow up with Consolidated.
What if what if you reached out to the broadband committee?
it hasn't met in over a year.
Oh, okay,
I mean, once the town voted against it, that was pretty
just kind
much
of
it.
fell apart.
I mean, there was no reason to continue to meet.
There was no actual vote though, was there?
It was never brought to the town to vote because the feedback we received prior to having a vote was, don't do this.
Overwhelming.
We don't want this. We don't
Okay.
care that the internet sucks.
Well, I'm gonna drop
was
that for
back.
now, I guess. I'm gonna drop that for now. There's just so many other things.
Yeah, I
going
think that's
on.
fine because
Okay,
even if we were to get them a more detailed proposal, do we have the support right now to see this all the way through? Like, I don't see how.
I've got so many other things
Right.
going.
It
we
probably
took-
is a good idea, though, to still keep an eye on what's happening both with the legislature and the government grant, because
Well, that's the thing.
is
There's
an issue.
there's money out there, but I don't have a proposal. I don't have a project.
We had a proposal, but it was, it was basically the entire island was gonna be done.
Mhm.
The whole,
I understand.
upgrade the whole system, and that's, I don't think that's gonna work for this, so.
but there might be
Okay.
something that would be down the road. We just make sure we're staying on top of it, that's all.
Yeah,
Well, I think I felt that the people that objected to the town being involved was more to do with the fact that we didn't have the ability financially, especially to own and operate a broadband, a utility. And I totally was in agreement with that. We shouldn't. In my
No,
opinion.
I
We
agree.
can't, we can barely maintain the sewer. How are we gonna maintain something that people don't, if they don't want it, they're not gonna buy it. So how are you gonna pay for that?
Well, I didn't
you
mean
know?
to start a whole conversation.
No, that's
about
fine.
it.
I was just gonna suggest, I know Gabe worked hard. I don't know what her thoughts are, about any of that.
Gabe, do
so.
you wanna chime in, Gabe?
I mean, I think it's up to the board, right, to decide what your trajectory is. I do agree that if you're, if it's still a goal, and I think one of the goals in your strategic planning process was like your one economic development goal, downtown master plan, and I think broadband was part of that. So if you still want to focus on it, I agree you need someone to focus on it. And like the committee did a lot of work on the various options, and we know that what Andy was asked to pursue was one of those options, which was not like what the broadband committee pursued was municipally owned. That was dropped. And then the other option, which is viable, another viable option is owned by the service provider. It still requires some level of town investment. Other communities have had good luck with that. Long Island is one of them. At the end of the day, they didn't end up having to borrow anything because of the grants. Granted, they're a much smaller island with a much smaller infrastructure need. But so end of day, I think it's really up to the board to say, this is important to us. We would like to pursue other options. You could form a broadband committee or ask them to pursue a different option. They have all the information, and just be keeping up to speed, but probably you do need, some sort of staff capacity behind it to continue seeing it through. But there's other options. There's other options besides municipally owned, and that's what Andy was pursuing, was service provider owned and operated.
Certainly, we know what areas are underserved and what areas
Well-
focused on, so
Well,
that
and
would cut it down
what
considerably.
Consolidated was proposing was a build out of the entire island with fiber optic, because they're kind of behind the 8 ball now with what they're able to offer, and they want to be able to install fiber. That's what they're doing in other communities. So it'd be a complete rebuild for them. They would be on with the same limitations that a municipally owned would be. They would be other than that they're already on the poles and leasing, and they own some of the poles. But they would still need to lease fiber optic from Fox Island. Fox Island still needs to install that underground submarine cable from North Haven to Vinalhaven in order for Consolidated to lease. The other service provider, of course, is Spectrum. They were offering to do a build out as well. So it was really sort of, I think Andy was approaching, both those service providers to say, where would you be at with, partnering with the town? But again, it's partnering. The town would have to show some sort of commitment monetarily, and whether that, similar to other projects, it could be all absorbed through grant funding, or it may not be. So
That was a lot of money.
Dave, do you remember roughly what it was if we did the partnership? I'm drawing a total blank on now what we thought that would be.
yeah, I mean, I think it was, you mean the town's portion of it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to say, yeah, I don't want to, I'd have to go back and look. It was
At least a couple
obviously a lot.
million, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think at least $1 million, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Right.
I need to go back to all of those reports and see what was written, because I know we did document what, both what Consolidated and Spectrum. And of course, Spectrum would be the least expensive because they have the least amount of build out to do, because they already have a lot of the fiber infrastructure, but
Yeah.
And they have good service.
They also didn't respond to Andy, I believe, which is why we've only talked to Consolidated since then,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, there again, a lot of it comes down to how much time, how much, who would we? Somebody would have to research what grant money that might be available, apply for the grants,
Right.
and we're back to looking at Gabe again for all the hard work she did in the beginning. So maybe it's a discussion for another day, or further discussion, certainly with us as the board.
Yeah. All right.
All right, well, keep it in mind, we're probably at some point in the not too long future, too long
Too
future.
far.
What's the matter with my?
I don't know, I think you're tired.
Do some goal setting, I've never done that. I haven't done that with you yet. What do you want to accomplish this year or, next 2 years, that kind of a thing. We did receive $50,000 from the state of Maine. It's a Community Resilience Partnership Service Provider Grant. And this is part of the downtown project. And Gabe, did you do that application? So thank you and congratulations.
Yeah, great.
Nice
good job. Job well done.
Oh, this is a request from John Frumer. You remember the John Airy property, and we were asked to do a boundary line
Mhm.
agreement?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now he wants a boundary line agreement.
Why, is his messed up too?
No, I don't know. I'm not really sure what his goal is. It's almost like, well, if you did a boundary line agreement with John Airy, then I want a boundary line agreement.
But the boundary line isn't in dispute, so
But that was, that
that's
was
why we did it
for,
for
That was for a
John.
property
for
sale, right?
property sale,
Yeah.
so they could get a clear title, I would assume.
Right.
And I
Um,
guess
yeah.
he and Wes Reed are arguing
Oh, Jesus.
about moving forward because John Airy needs a boundary. Well, I'm not sure why he needs these boundary line agreements in order for the sale to go through. I guess John Airy's attorney recommended that he get that before the sale. And John Frumer is resisting, which has nothing to do with the town.
Are they
That's-
abutters?
Yeah, John Frumer also abuts John Airy's
Okay.
property. I should have brought those maps, but it's neither, there.
But the thing was, the discussion, or the question was about town, the boundary with the town.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
only
That's a
reason we
whole
were
different story.
involved,
Right,
Right,
exactly.
it was the town
was
park,
because of the
line.
fact that
it had nothing to do with,
But
The
John
area
wants an
improvement.
agreement
Right.
also with the town.
well, I don't see
There's
why
a
we
common
have to.
property line.
Hmm?
With a, is it a common property line with the town? If it isn't, why would we do
Yeah,
it?
why would we
Right.
want to be involved? With that,
Right,
No.
I guess I need that.
I'm
map.
just saying, no,
why, I don't have enough
or have
information.
him come here and tell us
explain.
what it is.
Right,
and-
explain it, because I don't understand the ask, because his properties,
Doesn't make sense.
if it's,
I don't even think it abuts the.
right, that's what I'm
town
saying, but this
park.
isn't about the town park, then what?
Then
are we
it,
doing?
that's none of our
Interested in
concern.
doing it along the lines of what the board recently did with John Airy, but now with the Boom Quarry Preservation Corporation.
Oh.
Such an agreement would use data already on the Gartley and Dorsey engineering survey utilized in the agreement between the town and John. The only difference would be that the description Gartley and Dorsey would write up is in this agreement would reference the common boundary they identified between the town and the Boom Quarry Preservation Corporation.
Who was that?
I'm confused, is it disputed? Is that why?
Right, I don't know why you. What is in dispute?
Nothing is in dispute.
So I don't see why you even need, why do they even need this? That's why.
Honestly, I think it's just like an argument between Wes and John
Can we
Frumer.
see that? Leonard?
This is the email.
Email, thank you.
I think we've set on it, we have more information.
Right, I agree.
Yeah,
What are your questions?
it would help if we had the map too, to see if the town line actually abuts his property. I mean, if it doesn't, then
It
it's not,
does.
it does.
Well,
I can go.
But
get
if
it
it's
you want
not a
to.
disputed line, like that, the one with Wes and John Airy it was disputed. So that's why we
Yeah,
needed
that
to,
was like one Matt said it was like
Yeah.
how many 100 feet off.
it was like
from-
75-foot difference.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
why,
Which, yeah. In dispute, if there's no boundary line in dispute, I don't. I can't make a motion or move on this because I don't understand why they need
Right,
this.
right,
the only thing I mean, like we talked about was the fact that Dell admitted that he was off by 75 feet on his
Right,
point.
because he went back years later to do another,
It was like the magnetic point versus the
Yeah,
right,
whatever.
yeah, okay. But he going back again to the same area and
Mhm.
redid it and noticed that his first,
that it was in
it
there.
was an
Yeah.
error, right?
so what property I wondered, does the town about with him, is it, would be
Right by the Boom Quarry. yeah. What-
Lawson's?
Do you want me to
Lawson's
get it
Square?
or just?
No, we can. no,
We don't
that's-
have any, that's privately held, isn't it? We don't have anything to do with it.
I don't
Well,
think so, I don't think the
I didn't think we
Lawson's
did.
quarry property doesn't go across the road, I don't
But
believe.
no,
No.
either. Yeah,
I
And-
think Darren owns that. for
that
it,
boom
doesn't he?
part been in dispute with the owner, the lawyer who owns it, saying that no one can go there.
Right, they've closed it down.
Yep.
that doesn't make
Completely.
it-
But that-
Yeah. That's the person who owns
Really?
it, so
Used to just
where are
be-
we on this?
Yeah.
Used to be, just be when they were here, it was closed.
No, I think the daughter took it over.
Yeah.
Anyway, so,
Just an update on the fire truck that broke down. It's gonna cost quite a bit of money. $26,141 is the estimate, and that's for a complete engine replacement. I don't think we have any choice.
And this isn't even the one that we're talking about replacing, is it?
This is the
Might be now.
2000 E1.
Second. The
So it will come out of the
reserves, and
reserve fund.
is it completely out of the reserve fund? There's,
Well, I suppose I can look and see how much they have in operating for,
26,141.
It's right here.
Oh,
She gave me this before, potential motions.
must have it somewhere, yeah, I do. Sorry.
No, there's $8,800 in the operating budget. Oh, wait a minute. No, there's only
Oh, there it
5,000
is.
for equipment repair.
What's the reserve at right now? Because we were gonna use some of that reserve or most of it for the new truck, I think, so
Right.
we're gonna be,
Start over.
might need to have a fundraiser. I mean, I agree, but we don't really have a choice. We need to have the fire truck working, so, does anyone? Well, here we go. I'll make a motion. I move to appropriate the cost of a new engine for the 2000 E1 fire truck out of the fire department equipment and truck reserve at the approximate cost of $26,141, not to exceed $26,141.
Second.
Comment? What kind of shape is the truck in? Is it worth repairing compared to other options?
Well,
Yes.
a brand new, it is worth repairing, because a brand new, even a used truck is several $100,000, so.
Yeah, okay, that answers the question,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Because we're already looking to replace the 1984 engine, so.
Yeah,
And that one is really in hard shape. right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's,
yeah.
And a cracked head is, that happens.
yep. All right, so I'll move, motion made and seconded, all those in favor? All right,
And then we did also receive another almost $60,000 from the state of Maine in the so-called ARPA funds, American Recovery, something or other. So we have, in that fund, we have 119,335.19. One of the things that we can use that money for is making necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. So, I guess we need to think about what we want to use it for.
well, we don't have to, we have plenty of time to
Yes,
spend it, right? 'Cause
yes, you do.
I'm sure as we move through the
will
downtown
be.
project, there'll be water and sewer that will probably
Yes.
need
Yep.
some money, so.
Oh, the sewer is definitely. gonna
Yeah,
need
so
money.
that 119 will help, but it won't cover everything, unfortunately.
Sorry, on some items, I didn't bring enough information.
No, that's okay.
That's all I have.
All right, move on to report of members. I will
Oh.
start off with one, sorry, because it's so fresh in my mind. Next year. And this is probably starting on a broader topic of parking, but I don't think we should allow parking on High Street up the hill during the 4th of July parade. It's not. Parking, it's a sidewalk and it creates more traffic and it's unsafe, so. I think we should bring that
Mhm.
to the committee's attention and plan for next year to not have parking there. As we start to move through the downtown project next year and the year after, I think we're gonna have to revisit the parking ordinance and we're gonna have to have some sort of sidewalk ordinance, because if people don't use the sidewalks like they don't use them now, after we go through this whole project, I'm gonna go nuts.
I'm gonna.
Well, I
have
think,
to.
I think that, to be honest, I think when we get the new sidewalks, they'll be so clearly marked. Right now, there's no rhyme or reason to
But-
it. Where do we go now?
But I see people
So-
walking down Main Street
That's right.
with their baby stroller on the road going past the electric company now. So,
My question is, we're gonna have this brand new sidewalk that goes from the ferry. Is there going to be appropriate signage that says,
Oh, yes.
use sidewalk here?
we're gonna have one in,
But who's gonna enforce it if they don't?
well, that's where we have to have an ordinance, and then by the contract terms with Knox County Sheriff's Department, they have to enforce our local ordinances. So it'll be up to the deputy on.
A sidewalk ordinance?
Yes, we've talked
Something.
about it before. We were even talking about little ticket
Yeah,
booklets at
ticket,
one point.
because people aren't gonna use them, we need to remind them.
Especially
to
after
use them.
we are doing this
I didn't know we
whole
talked about
renovation.
tickets, But.
Yes, I definitely talked about
Oh, you
tickets.
did
Yeah.
parking.
I definitely.
For parking, I think it's Saturday.
not using the sidewalk.
Oh, well,
I'm walking down. from
I think
Quarry.
appropriate signage
Thought they looking in the windows while they're there.
interspersed along the way would be.
Jenny gets.
will-
Oh, yes, I'm not saying we don't do that, and I hope that will work, but
I
we-
think we
we-
also need to have no bicycles on the sidewalks, because
yes,
I've
I agree.
recommended some young little boys. Get off the sidewalk.
right.
And I know we say this every year, but can there be something that says no dogs at the 4th of July?
Oh, yeah, I know that's
That should be
hard.
something for
Could be a
the committee.
suggestion.
Yeah, the
They
committee-
suggest it every year and dogs, it wasn't overly hot this year, but the dogs were still
Mhm.
Well,
being
that's
dragged
owner-
behind their owners.
Owner negligence.
I
right
can't
there.
stand that every year.
I think that was all I had.
Oh, I got so way late on that one. Whoa. Oh, dear. Marjorie and I, well, we received the report about the poison ivy at, up at
Booth's, right?
Booth's
Yeah.
Quarry. And unfortunately, when it was put on Facebook, and was said, please don't go up there to do anything. Kurt, I forwarded you the email from Kurt. Went up this morning, Kurt Gentlin, and very generously was going to dispose of it, but somebody beat him to it with, who knows, Roundup, which is the most disastrous thing. Sprayed it, didn't get all of it, didn't get a portion of it. Sprayed it on some, what he said, with wild cranberry bushes, and apparently he felt that it had gone into the
Of
quarry.
course it will.
Great.
Of course. it will.
So, it's just something I don't know what we should do, if we should put something in the wind saying, under no circumstances be using pesticides at the quarries or town parks. Because we can take care of it. I mean, Kirk was so great. I emailed him right away.
Yeah.
When I found out, and he got right back to me and was up there this morning, and he's gonna go back again Thursday to try to clean it up. But it's very disappointing. People mean well, but they don't understand that when they do something, they're not thinking. So.
Yeah.
That happens
Is,
today.
Well, they shouldn't be spraying, but Roundup in itself though does deneutralize when it hits soil or the.
It's horrible stuff.
It's
It-
terrible stuff.
it's
It
been
shouldn't be
proven to
used.
cause
Cause
cancer,
cancer.
like so many
Um,
kinds of cancer.
Awful.
Yeah.
I don't want it near my well. I don't want it near my groundwater. I don't
Lasts-
want it.
goes in the
I don't
ground
want
for
my
years.
kids swimming in the quarry if I know Roundup has
Yeah.
been in it. Like, that's where I usually go to go swimming.
I
Now
mean,
I
I
don't
don't-
want to go
Like
there.
Kirk said, in the email, he doesn't know. I'll forward it to you guys, just so you know what he said, but he doesn't know what was used.
No, but that's probably
But-
what was used. And if,
And I don't have any clue who did it, but I just think we should be aware that.
we probably should let people know that an unknown pesticide was used after we
Mhm.
asked them not to at the quarry. Take your precautions. Also, please don't spray pesticides on public
Right.
land.
And tonight it's
Yeah,
supposed
that's
to,
a fair statement.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's supposed to rain tonight.
Right,
so
exactly.
Poor.
but anyway,
I,
Do you have
Go
anything
ahead.
else?
No, I did, but I
Alright.
can't.
um,
What the hell it was.
the fish plant parking lot, is that town?
Mhm.
Okay. The pilings and ladders and
The
no
ladders need to be,
tie-ups, there's no plate, there's no things to grab a hold of to tie.
Yep.
The pilings are rotted, they're falling to pieces, the ladders are sketchy. I know it would cost $1 million to replace everything, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and I just wanted to point it out.
No, our harbor master said the same thing, so we are aware of it. As you mentioned, it's gonna cost a lot to fix everything, but it's getting to a point where we're gonna have to because it's not safe, so.
definitely
We're gonna
not
have to
safe.
look into maybe I don't know, maybe there's another grant we can get.
It is part of the project. That,
It is part, is
Yeah,
that,
that's
yeah.
what
The
that's
fish
what I
plant
was just
is-
gonna say.
those
Yeah.
yeah,
pylons?
both the parking lots and boat launches, so whatever the pilings need to be replaced and yeah, bulkheads, that type of thing.
Thank you. I was not
Awesome.
clear on that.
Thank
I
you.
knew the boat launches were part of it, but I
Right.
wasn't sure about the pylons. So, all right, that's great news. All right. excellent.
Yay.
There you
Certainly,
go.
if the ladders need to be replaced, they could be,
That could be sooner
they
rather than
could, they
later.
could be done,
Right.
and then redone when the project goes through there. If we could, I mean, Jimmy could do that.
Cleats, that's the word.
I
I'm
was
looking
gonna
for.
say cleats.
There's
but-
no cleats or rings or anything
No
to
tie.
throw a
Right.
rope through.
Right.
That's, see, Marjorie, I'm having a day too, so.
Words. they're trying-
Words.
Yep.
Anyone else? All right, then. We go into executive session pursuant to one MRSA, section 456A to review assessor applications.
Can you pause and we need to stop the recording.
Yep,
So Marjorie, I need you to make me the co-host or stop the recording.
Yeah, we don't wanna have a recording, yeah, no. Oh, it's next one over. No,
yeah, stop. the
oh,
recording.
I thought she was on something else.